Hi, friends. Today, I am excited and a bit nervous to talk to you about something that keeps building inside of me as a really vital conversation right now, and that is radical personal responsibility. This is something that I see mediocrity breeding in ways that I have never experienced in my entire business career. And I'm left wondering why. And I'm watching and I'm noticing and I'm curious and I'm leaning in. And in 2024, I just watched it grow. It was like this seed that we don't want to expand that was expanding in cultures and communities. And so I thought it'd be really great for us to own this conversation as we enter 2025. And I want to talk about it obviously from a place of non judgment because judging it is not something that's actually going to help it shift. The judgment part of it adds to the challenge, it actually amplifies it. And so, in this conversation and planting some different ideas and thought processes today, what I think is really important as leaders in all capacities is that we pause and we breathe and we get curious and we start asking really important questions about what is facilitating this mediocrity, what is driving it within your organization, what's driving it even for yourself. I had a great conversation with a leader a few weeks ago, and she brought it up. And when she brought it up as something she's experiencing as well, and she's in a whole different world from where I'm in, and then I started asking more questions, and other people are really seeing this. I thought, guess what? That's what this platform is about. Because if we don't explore the things that are gnawing away, then we can't come up with answers and solutions and insights that can help us move it forward. And you know what we've been really, 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 really good at in the past decade plus is information. Lots of information. So I know if we Google this, we're going to find some answers. If we go to ChatGPT, they're going to give us some answers on what mediocrity is and what we can do to solve it. And that's great, except we don't need information. We need no more information. We actually need real conversations and authentic conversations that you can say to someone, talk to me about what's happening for you. But what I want you to walk away from today is asking yourself the hard questions. How are you showing up? How are you ensuring that you show up with the highest vibration energy possible? What rituals do you have? What practices do you have? What accountability system to yourself do you have? And then from there, how can you support other people to ensure the same? I've heard a lot, especially in the month of January, about people choosing one word. And this is a practice that we've had in our home with our family for so long, I can't remember when we started it. And I worked with organizations to help them amplify this in their own businesses. And my husband and I had this really great conversation about it last week that he was working with his leadership team on it and continues to. And people wondering about doing it, why are you doing it? And what we got into is this aha as coaches and leaders and the work I do, that oftentimes the perception is that people inside of an organization are doing these things for you, the leader, for the company because somebody's watching, for them, the grand them. This is the hard truth. Anything like this is for you. And I really want people to wake up to the fact that any of the visioning and becoming who you're meant to become and being the best leader you can be, that is an inside job. Creating a vision for you being your truest, most authentic, most powerful leader, most powerful human being you can do, that is an inside job. This is where radical personal responsibility comes in. And so when I look at mediocrity, it's really just that. It's the choices people are making. And if you're doing the same thing and you're in the same role and you're starting to feel like you're on autopilot, I get that. We all get into autopilot. We very often, if you talk to people, they will shower at the same time, shower the same way, brush your teeth the same way, have those same kind of habits that they start their day with without even recognizing it. You drive certain places where you're not sure if you stopped at the stoplight because you're on autopilot when you're going the same way. And that's a choice. So mindfully, we want to pause and build reflection into our weeks, into our days, into our life so that we can catch that you can actually go, oh, wow, I have been on autopilot. A simple, simple little thing of put your pen in a different hand for a minute and try to write your name and notice how a different part of your brain opens up. And then what can you do with your everyday in order to create that same kind of break so that you don't allow yourself to be in autopilot often? And there are certain things that we can get through and want to get through that's okay because we want to keep energy available for those genius zone higher level things that we need to work on. So where it becomes a challenge is when we are in autopilot in general, when in our roles and in the things we're doing and in our relationships, we are consistently showing up in autopilot. And this is where mediocrity is bred. So I want to talk about the one word because it is an exercise that is so easy to go into autopilot when you've done it for a few years and say, oh, here's my word. What do you do with it, though? And so I wanted to share, and if you're listening to us, it's okay. Just visualize what I might be showing. Is I've created a presentation for myself. Nobody else is going to see this except for me just quickly showing it to you of who I'm becoming in the year ahead. Becoming her. How do we awaken her? And much of the becoming her process comes from the work that I've been so blessed to do with Tracy Litt in the School of Becoming, that thought process. So now we want to deepen that, and I've aligned it with the one word that I do. So this is a visual presentation that I've created, again, for myself, looking to that vision for 2025. Now, who am I becoming in that vision? And I've got the I am a woman who statements throughout this. And then I've got the visuals that match that, the visuals of the energy that I feel and I desire to create. And then I've got my one word incorporated into this, where it's a full definition of what that word is, what it means to me. So mine is expansion for this year. So how do I create a circle of expansion? How do I ripple that out with alignment? And the definition of the path of expansion requires fierce courage, unshakable grit, and a heart aligned with possibility. To walk through with love to my edges and to step fully into my potential, into my life's calling. And then I've written out what's the inspired action that aligns with creating that one word. And then it's all about how does that align back to who I'm becoming that must live within that vision? What are the steps that I need to take? So it's not as simple as saying, oh, yeah, everybody, one word is expansion. And I only share it with you as an example of radical personal responsibility. So it's not just a word, and it's not a word that I need to even share with anyone. It is for me to hold myself accountable to becoming the person who will live in the vision that I desire to create. So how can you take that same principle and apply that to yourself? And I will say this is a lot of the work that we do within our programs is really the Wake the F Up festival that will be coming, the announcement will be coming shortly, the Awaken Her possibility program, the awakening retreat. You see a theme here. It's we must stay awake. We want to be awake. And I know so many ambitious, successful, like highly successful women who are from all outside perceptions are rocking it. They're at the top of the mountain. They have achieved such levels of success, and yet they're asking the question, what's this all for? And it's because we've become numb. It's because we've shut some things off. And now this is the opportunity and the challenge right now is to choose to wake back up, is to choose to wake up in new ways because there's something nudging you that says there's a different way. And there is for sure. And I'm reading this incredible book by, again, Tracy Litt, Worthy Human. And just so happened, the last sort of 6 months or so, this radical personal responsibility keeps coming up for me. And I had done a reflection the day before about it. And of course, when I picked her book up the next day, the chapter was, are you willing to own your shit? And in her words, I'm going to say, are you willing to own your shit? When you think everything is someone else's fault, you will suffer a lot. When you realize that everything springs only from yourself, you will learn both peace and joy, says the great Dalai Lama. That's the principle. And what I really was inspired by this book about is that Tracy came up with a definition of radical personal responsibility that amplified it for me. And so I wanted to share radical, far-reaching, thorough, complete, total, comprehensive, exhaustive, sweeping, wide-ranging, extensive, all-encompassing, everything. Seriously, everything. That means everything you are experiencing or not experiencing, feeling or not feeling, being or not being, doing or not doing comes directly from you. Breathe that in. That's radical. Personal means total ownership. The agreement that anything that comes into your world, your life, or your day is there or not there due to something in you. Owning that you make a choice over your actions, opinions, meanings, interpretations, thoughts, beliefs, responses, feelings, attitudes, and behaviors. You choose. It means you are the problem and the solution. It means that in truth, the only thing standing in your way, the only block or barrier is you, which then means the way to unblock and remove any barrier is you. The best news ever. And responsibility is able to respond. You have the inherent ability to respond. Response is a choice. It's conscious. It's what happens when you're living in your power. Without it, you're reacting. Reaction is what happens when we are living from the past, living from our default, when we are not choosing, when we are not conscious. Wow. Just sit with those definitions and then ask yourself, where are you being radically, personally responsible? Where do you notice it? Come up with some examples of how you see yourself understanding that it's yours, that you choose, that it's your energy, that it's your response, that it's actually your perception, that nothing you are thinking has the meaning that perhaps you're attaching to it. We apply the meaning. We choose autopilot. We choose to get into the energy that we desire to get into in every interaction, in every opportunity. We get to choose. You get to choose. Wow. And then pause. Think about some of the moments where maybe you're not showing up fully, radically responsible. I know for myself, when I pause and reflect, I will have those places. I will have those opportunities where I'm not being fully conscious, where I am not bringing my best self, where I am not up leveling, where I am not looking to that future self, where I am looking back at past meaning and showing up from that energy versus the future of who I am becoming. There's no question, because we are human beings. We are. We're human beings, and therefore we're a little fucked up and flawed. And that is also okay. We do not have to apply judgment to that. What we do have is an opportunity to look at it, to see it, to acknowledge it, and to say, what steps forward? How do I take responsibility for that moment, for that opportunity, for that relationship, and show up different? Get out of autopilot. Know the places where I'm showing up in autopilot that I don't want to anymore. I think that 2025, it's time. This is the other way. When I talk about there's another way, it's waking up. It's creating that awareness. It's opening up to the awareness. It's being honest with self. And then it's just one step forward at a time to say, you got this, because you do. And there's so many incredible resources around you as well. There's books like Worthy Human that you can pick up and read and be ignited inside. And there's opportunities like coming to Bali and having an awakening retreat. There's just talking to your spouse in a different way. There's showing up at work in your leadership in a different way. So really be conscious about what those opportunities are. Choose one that you can step into in the week ahead. And then don't forget to pop the cork and celebrate once you do, because we do want to acknowledge ourselves with releasing the endorphins and all of the positive juju inside of us that goes with waking up, that goes with being conscious. Then we pause and we celebrate and we giggle and we love and we move forward. Thank you so much for allowing me to riff on this really, really, really vital conversation. And I look forward to hearing your stories about what you've awakened from this little nudge.